Thank you to Epic Games for sponsoring this video. If you've ever been driving in the middle of nowhere, Washington, or perhaps you're on the hunt for the world's crappiest cup of coffee, then no doubt you've come across the mysterious small town of Bright Falls. Not to be confused with that other small town over in Oregon. They say weird things have been happening around here. Well, I doubt it. Just because some guy came out of the lake naked, wandered the forest a bit, and then normally got attacked by cultists and had his heart carved out of his chest in some kind of weird ritualistic sacrifice, doesn't mean weird things have been happening. People around these parts are just superstitious. My partner, Chad Chaddington, and I were sent to investigate this completely explainable and entirely reasonable happening. Just because the people of this town aren't hip to the jive like we are, doesn't mean this is anything more than just regular old homicide. Even as we went back to the station and performed the autopsy, there was absolutely no signs of strangeness. This is a normal town!
Sheriff?
What the hell?
Oh wait, nah, they're right. That's pretty weird. Well, there I was, standing in the only light available to me, the only place this guy couldn't seem to see me. And man, he was lurking like an 80-year-old on a VTuber stream. I was trapped, but not enough to calmly make my escape. Oh, where's the gun? There's gonna be a gun right here! And I found a gun and blasted the guy.
Vanished.
Well, even though that sucked royally, I investigated the room again and found a note that seemed to be reading me into some kind of sick story.
Saga had to pursue Nightingale into the overlap. Finding a way in would be difficult. A ritual.
This was supernatural.
Well, I'm glad you were the one to say it.
I slapped some paper on my Mind Palace wall and decided I knew what to do. As I left the station, some of the cops were startled by a dead body at the morgue. I mean, yeah, sure, this one clocked in at work today, but still, come on, guys. I looted the police station for any extra ammo, which they had like 1 round. Worked for me. As I made my way out, I made sure to head up to the prison cells room just to prank an inmate by shoving a flashlight into his eyes.
Yeah. We need backup. The Bright Falls case, whoever you can spare.
My partner was clearly paranoid, but I was ready to ditch this town and head back into the dark murder forest. On the way there, I pretended like I was playing Drift, and to be honest, I don't think Washington even has speed limits anyways. We finally arrived at the forest during optimal investigation hours, sunset, meaning we had a whole 15 minutes before it was pitch black dark out here. As I headed down into the murder forest, I stopped to gaze at the graphics. They sure were pretty this time of year. And alas, footsteps leading me somewhere probably safe and comfortable. At that moment, I realized that maybe this wasn't the best idea to be down here. I found more ammunition in a bird box or something and then stumbled across a sign that told me I should put a heart in it. But where in the world was I gonna find the general store? Of course! Who hasn't seen a human heart just lying around some small town general store? But as I wandered the interior, one thought was on my mind, and that was... Well, that got the old ticker thumping. Luckily, I had lightning fast reflexes. And dang, I lost my train of thought. Oh wait, I remember. What I was gonna say was... Well, this was an unfortunate situation, so I started blasting, but this guy ate my bullets like an MMO boss. I booked it outside to the nearest lamppost to see if the wardrobe was nearby, but it wasn't. However, this loser couldn't seem to see me, so I decided to blow my cover and blast this cult member into the bushes.
A cultist. A monster. Like Nightingale.
I meandered back on inside and used the door like a civilized person and located the nearest freezer. Bada bing, just like that I found a human heart.
The heart is clearer now.
It was no name brand, but I'm sure it worked just fine. Oh, I also found a shotgun. I would absolutely use this at my earliest convenience, which was immediately as some cult buffoons wandered into my swamp. Well, after that little fiasco in the forest, it was time to jam a heart into a wooden witch. But trust me, okay, fellas, nothing weird is going on here. There's a logical explanation for this, alright? But of course, a giant red portal into a tree appeared. I gazed into the hellish abyss before me, agape like a maw to Hades itself. Now turn around, man, I ain't going no spooky tree. But then again, what's the worst that could happen in there?
Logan? Logan! Where are you?
Well, my child screaming help at me was definitely pretty bad, but not bad enough yet. Thing is, it was rather pretty in here. Like some kind of enchanted mystical forest of, wait, is that a person? Well, hated that. Anyways, deeper into the forest I went. All of a sudden, flashes of a New York subway system appeared in the middle of the forest, like a projector. I just assumed I was going crazy, so I headed further through a tight cavern. And there he stood. The naked guy. Now, would he be open to talking with me? Nope, so I opened fire. I was hopelessly lost wherever I was, the great Deku tree or something, and as I ran and fought with the great naked man of the forest, he vanished, and then appeared out of nowhere, going in for the choke slam. Luckily, like all good wrestlers, I shined a flashlight in his eye to escape. I was bleeding out real good and had very limited ammo left, so I decided to just start emptying clips into this Michelin Man looking thing, and there I was, alone again. But only moments later, he appeared. John Wick.
Who are you? How to escape?
But how? How would I ever find him? Was he lost forever? There is no escape from this. Oh, here he is. He's just on the beach here. Case closed.
Are you okay?
No! It's my fault! It got out with my face! Scratch!
Sir, calm down. I'm gonna need you to take a breath.
He's changed the story. The dark presence. We must stop it before...
Easy now. What's your name?
My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer. I've been...
Wake? You've been missing for 13 years.
13.
Finding Alan was weird enough for one day, so I decided to head back to town. I casually walked back through the demented dark forest, checked some abandoned buildings, looted some lunch boxes, killed some cultists, and met the boys back at the car,
Ready to go?
where Alan already called backseat shotgun. We got back to Bright Falls alive, rehearsed a simultaneous coffee sip, and then we began to question the author we just found dumped in the forest.
Is there anyone you'd like us to reach out to, Mr. Wake?
No. No.
Okay, let's talk about something else.
No. No.
Tell us about the pages.
No.
Did you write these pages, Mr. Wake?
I'm trying to remember. It's a crazy jumble, like a nightmare.
But as he tried to make sense of everything, his gaze turned to a puddle, and he just stared at it. And all of a sudden, he became it, and I became him. And there I woke up to great applause. Had I done it? Had I won Mr. Beautiful 2023? No, it was just a dumb talk show. Well, let's get this over with then. So, like any normal guy getting featured on a talk show, I teleported through the TV and right onto the stage. Oh, and I was also real now.
Your new book, Initiation, hits the shelves tomorrow.
What?
That's exactly what every reader will be asking. This book is mind-bending. It's so cerebral. I mean, how would you describe it?
I didn't write that fanfiction garbage. Get that out of here. Well, I left the show and realized that this program really fell off. I mean, literally, there was no one here. I wandered the empty halls, looking for absolutely anything to get out of this maze. Like, seriously, did they film this show in some kind of, like, Winchester mansion? As I approached what I believed to be my ticket out of here, something was coming. I couldn't open the door. It was right behind me. I woke up back in my room. Typewriter still sitting there, empty as an alcoholic's bottle. I approached a large board with a start your own story kit attached to it. Using this, I would write a masterpiece. And using what little that storyboard gave me to escape this insane nightmare, I sat down and slowly I began to type. This Sonic fanfiction wasn't gonna write itself. But the sound of applause again. No, I was stuck in a constant nightmare loop. The only thing progressing me through was my ability to hit buttons on a typewriter. And on that stage, I woke up again. Alone. In the darkness. With something roaming out there to grab me when I least expected it. Well, no time like the present, or whenever the heck I was, so I began running around the halls like a student at school after hours. And at first it was kinda cool until... Yeah, we'll just keep that closed for now. I found a map of the facility, which, to my dismay, made me realize I had to go into that humming man room. So, fully embracing the 99% chance of a jump scare, I barged in and...
Ah, Lorraine! There you are, Tom.
It turns out he was pretty chill. You know what? This place wasn't so bad. Plus, I found a PlayStation Move controller, so that was pretty neat.
A tool for bringing light to the darkness.
With the power invested in me by the power of the PlayStation Move controller, I now controlled light itself.
Whoa! When the light jumped into my lab, the whole room changed.
I jogged gleefully through the facility, ready for anything. Except for this cringy home video I guess I made of myself.
Dark place wants to drown me.
Huh. Weird. So anyways, I was tired of this studio, and for some reason I was starting to smell hot dogs and burnt rat. Which meant one thing. New York. And as I entered the depths of the concrete jungle, a phone rang in the distance, like a haunting voice in the night when you're home alone. Should I answer it? Who could possibly be calling me in an empty city?
Hello?
Hey, is your fridge running?
Yes.
Well, then you better go catch it.
Hello?
Curse you, dang kids, and your cellular pranking! That call made me angry enough I could shoot someone, but I needed a gun in order to do that. Oh, here's one.
Picking up Casey's gun felt like I was assuming the role of the detective.
You're gonna get what's coming to you.
Look at me. I am the detective now. So I proceeded with my original plan, and that was to find a subway at my earliest convenience. The problem? I had to use my PlayStation Move to collect a light source to open the subway as it was lousy with darkness. So there I was, running around the city, climbing random buildings, shining flashlights at ghosts to make them insecure about themselves, looking everywhere for a light source to collect, and finally, I found one. I jammed the light into my PlayStation Move, but that only seemed to tick off the entire town, and this, my friends, was a ghost town, you might say. And with that, I muscled my way through the city of night, flashing ghosts with my flashlight and parkouring with the skills of a middle-aged author. I was magnificent. And finally, I arrived at the subway, eager to toss myself into its depths and embrace whatever may lie in the darkness. Which, turns out, were little eclipses of sort, and when I aligned it, it told me a little story.
An FBI agent had come here before me on the trail of a murder cult.
Well, that's creepy. Further into the subway I went. The deeper I got into the subway, the more the strange shadowy figures began to circle me, stalking me in the darkness where I could not hide from them. Like shame and guilt that drowns, when we hide it from our sight, we pretend it owns no crown, yet it lurks to control, smother, and blight. Yet as we step to light from none, though we see ourselves for what we've done, we admit to those who did not see, and there, only there, our shadowy shame can cease to be. Or you can just riddle them with 357 rounds. Well, these ghosts were getting friskier by the second, meaning I needed to deal with whatever the heck was down here. Then I bumped into that sheriff fellow that disappeared from the real world.
Hello. Oh. Hey, Alan. You snuck up on me.
Yeah, no, he was pretty chill. I found my way through the New York subway system, which made me feel like I was in the real world regardless. And then I walked through a train. Well, that was traumatizing. Turns out there's a lot of tunnels down here, places that probably most people have never been, and I was the lucky guy who got to be down here hunting ghosts. Anyways, I started writing down some random notes and decided, hey, what's the worst that could happen if I say rewrote an entire part of the story based off of a few keywords like, oh, I don't know, murder cult?
The changed into the murder cult's hideout.
At first it was kind of cool, you know, I got to see where the cultists storyboarded, all that kind of good stuff. But then as I turned around, they were there. Okay. Well, after those shenanigans, I headed for the final launch tunnel, which seemed to be blocked. So I changed the story to summoning ritual, cause honestly, what's the worst that could... I think I got it. So I meandered back towards the cave where I absolutely did not get it. It was right on my tail. I just booked it into a tiny little crack in the wall, and just before the entrance had collapsed. I had seen enough caving videos on YouTube to know that this was a horrible idea, but there was no other way to go. And of course, just like all those videos, I came across some creepy mess of summoning a ritual room. Ugh. So typical. But before I knew what was happening, I accidentally or intentionally strangled myself or my doppelganger. Either way, it sent me straight back to reality, and right back to being FBI Agent Saga.
Scratch wants it to bring about his ending. That can't happen. If I can get the clicker, I can send him back to the dark place, make all this shit go away.
Alan wanted some kind of clicker thing, and of course I was the only one who was fit for the job to find it. I slapped like 100 posts to my Mind Palace wall, which I was starting to realize was just Facebook with no friends, and set out to a mobile home park where we had a lead.
I should ask around.
Except for you, specifically. You are of no help to me. Somehow, some way, this was helping. I bumped into the town's bigwigs, the ones everyone knows are trying too hard to be the popular guys in town.
Hey, Saga! Over here!
Great to see you back in Watery, Saga. Everyone in town missed you.
I would like to see my trailer. Do you have a spare set of keys?
Yeah, I have a spare set. They're just over at Coffee World. The spare keys are in the gift shop safe. I'll call ahead and have someone get them out for you.
Turns out I somehow owned one of the mobile homes, as if I was living some kind of double life out here.
Across the river.
And of course, the only way to get there was to follow the half-flooded, creepy, dark forest trail through a rundown, coffee-themed amusement park. And like all good forest walks, some guy chucked an axe at my head. So I shot him and hid. When I came across a hunter's shack in the woods, I found a cooler, and I knew exactly what they keep in these: crossbows. As of which I immediately used on the first thing I saw in the forest. After finally arriving at the creepy theme park, I discovered someone put a lock on the door. Now I know that I have a pistol that I could easily break this lock with, but I needed a screwdriver. It was the only way, and the only optimal place for a screwdriver was the teacup ride, which, of course, was haunted. But with normal people, well, cultists. So I killed them both with incredible amounts of noise and poor accuracy, and proceeded to get this screwdriver. I fought my way back through the angry trapped customers who had risen up to defend their new home, and broke into the gift shop.
The keys to my trailer.
Finding the key to my alleged mobile home. But as I left that place, murder, cultists, a man who was trapped in this lake for 13 years, that all makes sense, but this? What could that possibly mean? Regardless, I found the trailer park alongside two fellow gamers who eagerly introduced themselves.
I am your great uncle Odin, and this is your long lost Murfrev, Thor.
Sarasota.
And I am the All-Father.
I would trust these men with my life. As I broke into the somehow my house, I discovered a room of my child's things.
Everything here reminds me of Logan.
As if she was living here.
This could be her room.
I began to panic.
This is getting too real, too personal. And that's the clicker. In the hands of the cult, just like the page promised.
Was this just a realm of possibility for things to come? A sick story Alan wrote to save himself, putting me and my family at risk?
Logan's back home. She's at school. David. I'm in the story and it's coming true. Wake said Scratch would try and hurt me with the horror story. Call me back as soon...
It didn't matter. Dear Man was here, and it turns out he was one of the cops from Bright Falls. And he was my top priority. Had I not discovered this absolutely fantastic commercial, honestly, top notch.
Incredibly attractive martial arts master. It's me, your brother, Ilmo. I now recognize you, but Ilmo, why are you dressed like that? Deerfest is almost here, which means we're chopping.
No, this was it for me. I knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. But I broke from my trance. I pursued him into the forest again, and to a large mechanic shop, as to which I rummaged around until I found a lock with some weird cult symbols. There was only one place a riddle like this could be found. In a coffee cup. Dang, I was good. My first order of action when entering the cultists' main hideout room was, alone of course, to crawl down into their basement suite where normal things were happening.
Hey! Freeze!
That's the clicker.
Finally, the clicker. It was... My heart, it was thumping good again.
Took it.
Well, there was only one way I was gonna get that clicker now, and it was by... How many of you ex-Kool-Aid men are there? It didn't matter. He was kinda human, and I kinda had a gun, so I exercised proper gun safety and emptied like 4 shotgun rounds and 3 pistol clips into the strange fella.
Okay.
That conundrum made me realize one thing. I needed to find a well and jump into it. Don't ask why. I'm the expert here. I don't see you with a mind palace wall filled with imaginary investigation clues. So with that in mind, I fought my way across the theme park. Stealth didn't exist in my reality. It was either this mystery gets solved, or I kill as many things as I can before my clock runs out. And honestly, at this point, I'm not even sure if time matters to this case. And there it was, the macabre well that lie within a coffee-themed amusement park. Amusing. So I murdered the 2 guys trying to defend their little attraction, triggering some kind of field of psychic energy, which was a bit much for me, so I went back inside for a quick cup of coffee. But then I was ready. I charged fearlessly straight into the... Ugh! Oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I found myself in some sort of well world. There wasn't much down here in terms of normal things. As I ventured deeper and deeper in, there was another well, or the same well, which I didn't question at all. I just hopped right on in. And that well led me right back to the same place, but this time it was spookier. Or so I just assumed, because nobody puts a well into a well. That makes no sense. It's ridiculous. These bunch of goofballs in this town, I'm telling you. And right when I was thinking 2 wells. Now that's just crazy. Guess what? 3 wells. And now this one was filled with blood.
I can't get through that. I need to look for another way through.
I ran around for a solid 10 minutes looking for any way to find this clicker thing, but all I found was strange projections of ballroom dancers and strange radio music blaring in the forest. And when I figured things couldn't get any worse, the Deer Boys. I had had enough of these guys, so I slaughtered them like animals! Just like Anakin to the Tusken Raiders. And the younglings too, I suppose. Someone set up mist projections around the forest, which was actually pretty cool. And after wandering for what felt like forever, another well, which I climbed into, no hesitation.
Going down.
That laugh wouldn't stop me from having a good time wherever this went, which was right back to the same place. But something felt a little odd this time, like there were 2 rangers waiting in the forest with deer masks to kill me. And there they were. There were the rangers in deer masks trying to kill me. Well, as I ran and hid from their insanely, frustratingly accurate gunfire, I realized there was but one tool for this job, a crossbow bolt to the head. Unfortunately, that made his partner mad, who then also came out to fight me, but with a shotgun that felt pretty bad, actually. However, I still had yet to find the cultists who could withstand gun. So in a frenzy of bullet fire, I blasted them with every remaining bit of sanity I possessed, until finally, I had defeated them. Or so I thought. I had forgotten to shine my light on the dark energy super portal things, meaning that they would just keep coming back over and over again. So so I had to kill them both a second time and finally disabled their means to immortality. And that was it. I had just killed 2 murdered deer cultist police in the triple well. Classic. I should have expected this. Well, I made my way back to reality and slowly made my way back to the town, really taking in the sights. Cause honestly, just take a minute to appreciate how good this looks. It's actually kind of unbelievable. And with that, I made my way back to town. But as I assumed that Bright Falls would be safe, things were not safe. Alan had been discovered by the deer cultists and an open firefight in the town broke out. Luckily, he found a shotgun to use as a melee weapon and beat the ever-living tar out of some cultist scum. But it was too late. He was taken down.
FBI, drop the knife!
I stopped a cult member from killing him, but...
Elmo?
Suggy, you don't understand.
What? All of a sudden, we were surrounded by agents.
FBC! Stay down!
Positive ID. Alan Wade. Agent Anderson. Agent Kieran Estevez, Federal Bureau of Control. We'll take it from here. Okay. Then your work here is done.
Oh, perfect. Time for a vacation.